What's up, guys? We are in the arcade. What I wanted to do today was a quick overall tour to just kind of introduce you guys to the arcade, go over each of the individual games, talk a little bit about the history of collecting, and just kind of go over the hobby. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. It's really a great community of people too. Just some really great people out there. And it's like anything else, it's sort of a small world. But yeah, what I do is I collect from the golden era of arcades, which is the years 1979 to 1983, 84. So the early 80s. And these games, almost all of my games come from, I'd probably say with the exception of the pinball, almost all of my games come from that 5-year period. And when I started collecting in the late 90s, the first game that I got was Miss Pac-Man right here. And when you get into this hobby, you'll find that arcade video games, that this type of cabinet is called a stand-up upright cabinet. And that's probably what most people remember. But there were 4 generally types of cabinets that arcade games came in. So they came in a stand-up cabinet like you see right here. They came in a cockpit version like this Star Wars right here. And then a lot of the manufacturers, Atari, Bally Midway, and all came up with a mini cabaret game, which was really just a smaller game, had a smaller monitor in it. It was kind of meant for a more sophisticated setting, maybe a bar setting or something, rather than an arcade. Didn't take up quite as much space. But you can see here it's got a little bitty monitor in it. Most games have a 19-inch monitor, and these are raster monitors. Some games do have a vector monitor. My Tempest is out right now, but Asteroids is a vector monitor. And what that means is that all of the images on the screen for a vector monitor are created with lines, whereas a raster monitor is created with dots. So a lot of times you hear DPI, dots per square inch, and all. Well, that's exactly how these games were created, is they were made with little dots. Star Wars right here is a vector game. Oh, and the last type of cabinet, I almost forgot, the last type of cabinet is a cocktail, and the game I have that is closest to that is this game right here, which is the Red Tent. And I'll turn the lights on. I wanted to show everybody what the arcade looks like with the lights off, but it's a little bit easier to go around and show you some of the details with the lights on. So here is a Red Tent. Red Tent is a fairly rare game. It's really pretty neat. It's a Nintendo game, so it plays Mario Brothers on this side, and it plays Castlevania on this side. But I've got Duck Hunt. What else do I have? I've got Excite Bite. And what you can do is you can swap out the boards on the inside of this game, and you can play other games. So it's really pretty neat. It's kind of the precursor to this Nintendo I've got over here. You can see the Nintendo, and we've got a gun. Here's the gun. So it's that game where you play Duck Hunt, Hogan's Alley, those types of things. All right, yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. Like I said, I started in this hobby in the late 90s. I've been collecting 25 or 30 years. And when I got into the hobby, nobody was doing this. So you were able to get games really inexpensively. In fact, I've been able to collect a lot of these pinballs by selling some games. Pinballs are going to be more expensive than your arcade games. But probably 75% of these machines in here I got for $200 or less. I do remember paying, I think it was $350 for this Galaga, and at the time that seemed like so much money. But now the games are worth considerably more, and in some ways I wish I had bought a bunch of arcades instead of buying stock in the stock market. Okay, so an arcade is not complete without a jukebox. This right here is a Row jukebox from 1989, and it's really kind of cool. It's got these bouncing lights on it, and what you do is you just enter your song over here to the side, and it pops up and plays your song. It's got 45 records on the inside. This is a Stern Stranger Things. Stern was really 7-8 years ago was the only pinball manufacturer, and pinball has really seen a resurgence over the last few years, and I've just absolutely gotten into it. I really enjoy pinball. It's a lot of fun. We go to these conventions and these arcade shows, and there are a lot of companies now making pinball games. Next to it on the right is an Addams Family by Pat Lawler. It was made in, I believe, 1992. Just a really great game, but it's 28 years old. It's just incredible that these games are still around and playing, especially pinball games that have all the mechanical parts to it and all these computer boards, that interfaces that work together. See, this one here is telling me to check some fuses on it. So there's always something to do on an arcade game. Over in here, we'll just go around. Twilight Zone is another Pat Lawler game. Monster Bash, Medieval Madness, and Attack from Mars are actually all new pinball games that were remakes from old pinball games. Chicago Gaming has started remaking pinballs over the last 5-6 years or so, and man, I just really love them and have enjoyed them. This is a Missile Command Cockpit right here. I am on a registry. There are only about 12 of these left in the world. It's debatable how many were made. I've heard as many as 100 to 200, somewhere in that range. This one right here, it's got a serial number on it, and it's 007, I believe. Now I can't remember. It's either 007 or 016. I'll have to pull it out and look at that. It's been a while since I've done that. But if you guys in the comments, if you want to see any videos of individual games, I think this would actually be a great one to take a video of, because there are not many of them, and just kind of do a cabinet tour and a tour around the game. This is a Baby Pac-Man, which is a hybrid between a pinball game and an arcade game. Very hard. It's one I do remember playing in the arcade. Outrun, a fantastic game. Dragon's Lair, fantastic game. This is one that I remember in the arcade. It took 2 quarters, and it was unbelievably hard to play in the arcade. In fact, here I've got it on 25 cents, but I do have some 50 cent little signs, or what am I trying to say, that I want to put in there so that it'd be more like the original arcade. One of the things I do is I got a change machine right here. I like to put quarters in the games, so that was something that you would have done in the arcade, and to really simulate that experience. All these games take quarters. Now, of course, you can turn them all on the free play. I've got them all pretty much where you could switch into free play if you wanted to do that. And that would probably be a lot easier, because these coin mechs can be finicky, and I spent a lot of time, just like the guys in the arcade, unjamming coin mechs and helping kids out when they come over. Here we have a Super Pac-Man. We've got a Moon Patrol, Q-bert, which was a Gottlieb game. This is the original swearing, kind of the rare marquee. I've got the other Q-bert marquee as well. Frogger, of course, that's a classic Sega game. Nintendo Donkey Kong, Nintendo Mario Brothers, and Nintendo Punch-Out. This is a Punch-Out cabinet, but I've actually got a Super Punch-Out board in there. Super Punch-Out's super hard, man. For some reason, I just can't get past like the second guy. I do at some point want to put both boards in the game. I got to figure out how to do that. Pac-Man, of course, that's a classic right there. Tempest, my monitor's gone out on me. That's one thing about this hobby. It never seems like it seems like you never have everything running at one time. You're always working on something, but that's also a lot of the fun. I, in some ways, enjoy working on the games just as much as playing them. This is a pole position cockpit right here. We've got Asteroids Deluxe. We've got a pole position 2 right here, and then in the corner I have an Environmental Discs of Tron, which is probably, people would say the best designed game of the 80s. I mean, this thing is just incredible. It's socked in the corner right now, so you can't really appreciate the beauty of it, but it's got this cabinet that you can get inside, and it's really this overall experience. This lights flash up here, and they flash behind you, and this control panel flashes. It's just really a cool experience. And the next to it, we've got Dug and Centipede, which are both Atari games. Over here I have a phone, and I got an old Coke machine. Light has gone out on my Coke machine. And then, of course, you got to have a gumball machine with aliens in it as well. Some of the memorabilia that I have on the walls, I've I've really collected some of these posters from, of course, Space Paranoid. Space Paranoids is Flynn's arcade. Their made-up game. Got that a few years back, and then I started getting into the Showbiz posters as well, and some of the Showbiz and Chuck E. Cheese memorabilia. You can see some of those up here as well. Just kind of fun things to collect to fill in the arcade. Some of the posters, the hats, and then some of the rules and all. Some of the posters from the conventions we've been to, and then this right here was a light from Billy Bob's stage, that Showbiz stage. I got that a few years ago. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's the arcade. That was a very quick tour. If you would hit the like button and the subscribe button, that would help. I'm really trying to grow the channel. I would like to take videos of each of these games. If you guys want to see something first, just kind of comment and let me know. It's a fantastic hobby. I just like to introduce everybody into the hobby and just kind of go over some things. I'm just a regular guy that's kind of learned over the years how to work on these things. And what you find now is that there's really a tight-knit community, and the games aren't too hard to work on. It's a lot of fun. I'm learning with pinballs. That's something that's been a little more challenging to me than working on an arcade game, but I'm learning through all that. But yeah, I appreciate everybody watching, and stay tuned. We'll do some more videos. Take care.